Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
Trump endorsed Republican Jack Ciattarelli fights to turn New Jersey red. It looks like it is possible. Look at this, a new Emerson College poll. They did a really good job in the last election. They have Ciattarelli in a dead heat with the progressive Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill in the traditionally blue state. The two had their first debate on Sunday night, and while the most significant issue for New Jersey voters is the high cost of living there, particularly taxes, Mikey Sherrill told voters exactly why she's wrong for the job, because she refused to commit to not raising taxes even higher. Take a look.
We are not raising the sales tax here in New Jersey. What we need to do is lower the income tax and the property tax.
I'm not going to commit to anything right now because I'm not just going to tell you what you want to hear.
Welcome back to Whistleblower Wednesday. The Rob Maness Show's live on Worldview YouTube and our X Spaces simulcast. Well, turning New Jersey red with a ballot chase. And secondly, there's an anti-paper ballot lawfare exercise happening in Arkansas, Republicans on Republicans. You heard me right. We have a ballot chase operation that's going on in New Jersey right now as we speak. Has been for a couple of months. If you haven't heard, the same team from the Pennsylvania chase that was the instrumental effort in winning Pennsylvania for President Trump in the 2024 election is currently on the ground in the New Jersey governor's race. Turning New Jersey red is a very real possibility in less than a month on Election Day in November. We're diving into that effort first, although my guest is running a little bit behind. He's traveling today, so it may be a few minutes before we get him on. He's Cliff Maloney. But my second guest today on the second half of the show is retired Army Colonel Conrad Reynolds, who's been a U.S. Senate candidate in Arkansas before, and is leading in the paper ballot effort from his foxhole to reestablish the integrity and security of our elections, but is now being charged, yes, being charged by a Republican attorney general that's carrying the new nickname, the Letitia James of the Republican Party, for violating electioneering law for simply doing exit polling in the election that passed paper ballot requirements in one of the state's counties last year. It's amazing, folks. It is absolutely amazing that this is happening. These guys in Arkansas not only are going after Colonel Reynolds, but last year, and I had Colonel Reynolds on just a few months ago to talk about this, the Republican state leadership went after the election commission in that county that won the paper ballot and hand counting voter initiative. Okay, so their county does paper ballots now with hand counting of the ballots. It's a requirement. They went after them to try to ban them from politics and election management for 14 years because they said they violated some law about how much they paid to rent a camera, which is incredible. Why are Republicans in a supposedly ruby red state like Arkansas, led by one of Trump's favorites, Governor Sarah Sanders, Huckabee Sanders, going after Republicans for wanting to have paper ballots and hand counting? The president is on the record for saying that. But first, we're going to talk to Pennsylvania native Cliff Maloney, he's the founder of the Pennsylvania Chase and designer of 300 plus election winning, door knocking campaigns around the country at the state legislature level, and is still actively doing that. And he's here with me today to discuss the state of the New Jersey governor's race and update us on the ballot chase operation that now we can talk about that's been going on there, I think, for a couple of months. Cliff can get more specific on us when he's able to come in to the show. But let's talk about Jack Ciattarelli. He's the Republican candidate. Last time he ran for governor, he missed it by less than a percentage point, I believe. It was very, very close. This year, he's been endorsed formally by President Trump, the Trump team, not just the campaign type team, but the MAGA folks that supported President Trump, just like Charlie Kirk did. He was a leader, if not the leader, of that group of influencers and individuals have all weighed in this race. They had a massive rally at Wildwood just a few days ago where Jack Posobiec, Benny Johnson, and the like all came in, and they're putting their shoulders to the wheel. Scott Pressler's got a huge voter registration project going on. You'll see a clip from him in this show. And that is turning blue counties red. It's amazing to think about whether we can get New Jersey to turn red again. And they deserve it. They have some of the highest tax rates in the world. They have used to have great school systems, but they've been trashed. Their property taxes are through the roof. Their income taxes are through the roof. And they want to spend money on things like medical care for illegals. And the opponent that Ciattarelli's running against, she's touting her Navy Academy, U.S. Navy pilot. I think she's a helicopter pilot, Mikey Sherrill or something like that. But she was part of the cheating scandal at the U.S. Navy Academy years ago and wasn't even allowed to walk the aisle and get her diploma at the end of year ceremony, where sometimes, this guy like the president of the United States shows up to actually hand you your diploma. She wasn't allowed to walk in her graduation ceremony at the U.S. Naval Academy because of a cheating scandal. But she won't release the records. Why would you vote for somebody that is hiding their record? Look, I've served in the military. I make no bones about it. I'll release any record that anybody asks for when it comes to my military service, because when I ran for office, that's the only experience I had. I had to talk about my experience. So people want to know. They deserve to know if you're asking for their vote. But Mikey, she won't do it. What's wrong with her? That begs the question of why she's a Democrat in the first place. Because if you really, truly believe in the Constitution of the United States, how could you be a Democrat? And oh, by the way, she voted originally for the resolution that honored Charlie Kirk, and then voted the other way because she lied and said that Charlie was for removing women's rights and was a racist and those kinds of things. Well, that's just ridiculous. Well, we're going to go ahead and take the first commercial break now, and when we come back, hopefully Cliff will be with us. We'll be right back on the Rob Maness Show.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home, went to bed.
From what we're seeing on the ground, this is a state that went double digits for Joe Biden and went within 5 percentage points for President Donald Trump. And in Passaic County, we are seeing the beautiful Hispanic community come over to the Republican Party in a way that we haven't seen before. We are courting minority communities, and that's why Mikey cheating scandal Cheryl is so scared. All right, let's be real. Lockdown Phil Murphy is the reason why so many people are now joining the Republican Party. And I have a message for the viewer at home. If you want to ban offshore wind, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want to bring down property taxes, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want to bring down electricity prices, vote Jack Ciattarelli. If you want school choice, vote Jack Ciattarelli. This is your candidate. We are no longer going to bow down to the Democrats in Trenton. And this is time for the people in New Jersey to take back your state, and I ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 for Jack Ciattarelli for governor. I'm not going to go into hypothetical. I'm going to go into 2021 was decided by 84,000 votes. 600,000 Republicans stayed home. 250,000 New Jersey gun owners are not registered to vote. You go to nj.gov. The last day to register to vote is on October 14th, Charlie Kirk's birthday. Honor Charlie Kirk by registering to vote, nj.gov. You make a plan to vote on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Game on.
Welcome back to the Rob Maynard Show. It's Whistleblower Wednesday, and we got a ballot chase operation going on in New Jersey. Just heard from Pressler there, who's amazingly on Fox News now. And my guest, Cliff Maloney, is with us now. Of the Pennsylvania chase, the win at the door operation, that the man knows more about door knocking and winning in politics than anybody walking the face of the earth today. Cliff, I saw a clip from you with Bannon that said you've been in there with a New Jersey chase operation for a little bit now. That was a well-kept secret.
Yeah, so listen, we weren't going to go public about it. We were pretty locked in on this idea that, I wanted to stay under the radar. We launched the New Jersey Chase program August 4th. We've got 105 ballot chasers on the ground. And, look, once they obviously had the horrific assassination of Charlie, Jack Posobiec and a couple others said, look, we got to go public with a fight. If you're doing this in Jersey, let's actually step up and figure out a way to encourage other people to get involved. So happy to report on the Rob Manis Show. We do have a New Jersey Chase program. We are on track. Right now, we've knocked 330,000 doors. We're trying to knock 500,000. But I got to tell you, Colonel, it looks good. I mean, the numbers are moving in the right direction. There's excitement for Jack Ciattarelli. And so, I don't want to get ahead on anything or make any bold predictions. But if we do the work and we can increase and make him a little bit more competitive when it comes to mail-in ballots and early voting, if election day is the same as it was 4 years ago, we could be looking at a governor, Jack Ciattarelli.
Now, Cliff, when we did the ballot chase operation in Pennsylvania in the 2024 cycle for not just President Trump, but all of Republicans to win there, you had the numbers down really tight from the previous election when Trump was in there on mail-in ballot percentages. And you were pretty close. I mean, within a percentage point, I think, if I remember right, of saying, hey, if we get this much percentage of mail-in ballots to Trump, then he's going to win. And that's the way it exactly turned out. Do we have the same level of insight into the data here, and how's it looking from that perspective?
Yeah, well, it's very interesting because if you look at the 2020 race in Pennsylvania and you compare that to the 2021 race in New Jersey, it's pretty identical to the results. Okay, so it's a little different, Rob. I like to be very transparent and honest with your viewers because in Pennsylvania, they give you a lot more data on the method or the type of vote that came in for the candidate. New Jersey is a little less transparent. They don't share all of that. But based on all the numbers we've looked at, Jack Ciattarelli got roughly about 23% of the mail-in back in 2021. And, he lost the state by only 3 points. So I think we're looking at pretty similar numbers that we have to increase that. 30%, I think there's a real race. 33%, I think he wins. And so we're going to do everything in our power. We've got Airbnbs across New Jersey. If people want to get involved, njchase.org. They can support us. $175 covers an entire day of ballot chasing. But it's also going to come down to not just being competitive on mail-ins, but is the support there on election day? What type of urgency is there? How much are people actually making a plan to vote and getting out? But here's the secret sauce. We didn't have early voting in Pennsylvania. We only had vote by mail and election day voting. New Jersey, very different. Got 9 days of early voting. That's a huge opportunity for Republicans. You can trust the system. You can win in person. That's going to be a big difference too. So when we're at the door, we're not just pushing vote by mail. We're also pushing, if you don't want to vote by mail, then make a plan to vote early. That way we're not fully reliant just on election day.
Yeah. What kind of, this is one of the things I love about your operation is you get feedback from people when you actually get folks to talk to people at the door. What kind of feedback are you getting on Chitterelli versus this Mikey candidate?
Yeah, listen, she's crazy. I don't know how else to put it. She's got the Navy scandal. She's got this insider trading where she's tripled her net worth. I actually compare her, and what we're hearing at the door is, the more people get to know her, it's almost like Kamala Harris. The more people get to know her, the more votes she's losing. Right now, some people might be thinking, I'm just going to vote for the Democrat. They're not even looking at the name. When they start to get educated on who she is, what her background is, and what she stands for, they're running away from her. And so I think, the only thing that's going against Jack right now is I wish she had another 2 months for people to really continue to learn about her. But the people we talk to, Rob, they're excited, right? And remember, I'm going to Republican doors and making sure that all these low propensity Republicans that are not likely to vote, but if they do vote, they're going to vote for Jack. They're excited, right? They see this. There's a lot of Trump voters. There's a lot of Trump Republicans, MAGA Republicans, even the moderate Republicans. Jack is a great candidate. And I'm a harsh critic of candidates, right? You've been in the room with me when I'm giving some feedback to some of these folks. He is the type of guy that connects. When I go to events and I speak with him, he's authentic. And I think that 2024, we learned how much that word authentic mattered because people have so much access to candidates. It's almost like constant cameras on them. When you look at him, he connects. When you look at Mikey Sherrill, it's just the opposite. So that's what gives me optimism.
Yeah, and I got to say, as a military guy, this Naval Academy cheating scandal thing that she doesn't want to release the information to, that really tells you a story right there, because Academy graduates across the board are duty, honor, country people. They live by the honor code, do not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. And then you start peeling the layers back on just what you do know about things like cheating scandals. And this person is apparently at the heart of it for her graduating class that year, to the point where she couldn't even march in the ceremony to get her diploma. So, it's my New Jersey network. I believe it or not, I know I'm down here in South Mississippi, but I have a New Jersey network. Names like Mike Crispy, Michael Byrne, those kind of guys. Mike Casey. They have been excited about Chitterelli almost from the get-go. I know there was a primary and everything, but are you getting any sense that the folks from the Republican primary are slow to come over, or is everybody getting their shoulder to the wheel?
Yeah, I'm not seeing that at all. I mean, this is a unified front. You've got, everyone across the board, Republican-wise. And here's the cool thing. This has never really been done in Jersey. And what I mean by this is you have Scott Presser owning registration. You have the New Jersey Chase coming in to make sure every Republican ballot that goes out comes back in. You've got other national groups getting involved. I mean, it's very different than 4 years ago. And that's not a shot at Jack or his campaign. They're doing great.
Yeah.
But you've got all of these people, us coming to Wildwood to have that huge event with Jack, with Scott, with Jack Posobiec as well, Benny Johnson. I mean, everybody's kind of putting their energy. And look, I mean it when I say, the reason that I went public is we need a fight right now. Even if we come up short. And obviously, I'm pushing as hard as I can. I'm committed to being on the road between PA and Jersey for the next 3 weeks. But the reality is we need a fight, and this is the fight. I really think that, there's some momentum here. I think there's an opportunity. but you have all of the similar things that happened in Pennsylvania now happening in New Jersey. And I think the fight is worth fighting, and we're going to go all the way to November 4th.
Yeah, it's definitely worth fighting. Turning Point Action is involved too, isn't it, Cliff? Similar to what you guys were doing together in the Pennsylvania Chase operation?
Yeah, well, look, here's the secret nobody really ever gets to hear. I mean, how do you think we hire a lot of these door knockers? We go to Turning Point, about half of our door knockers are recruits from the Turning Point network. So, yes, they've got regional people, they've got different folks working campuses in the state. It's the whole band getting back together. And I think it's a great way, not just to honor Charlie, but to say, listen, we're not just going to pack it up and go home. We're going to find the battles that are the best bang for our buck, where we can have the most impact doing what we do best, which is ground games. Where does it make sense to knock doors? And I think right now, being all in on Jack Chitterelli is something I'm very excited about.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's going to be great. I've committed to coming up there and speaking to if the guys need me to do that. So over the next 3 weeks, and look forward to helping out if I can in more ways than we already are. And I've got my network energized because we need to get this win in, not just for Chitterelli, but this is the big show for the momentum and the movement that Charlie Kirk represents. And I think he would be very proud of you guys.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think, one of my favorite quotes from him is knock that extra door, go do the work. And look, throughout the years, I mean, Charlie was always willing to give me candid feedback, versus both positive and negative. But the reality is, you're right. I think he'd be proud. I think he's looking down on us and glad that, we're rolling up our sleeves and diving back in.
Yeah, and are you hearing from folks at the door about Charlie at all? Is that a topic that you hear about
every single day?
Door knockers?
Every single day. I mean, especially if I wear my Freedom shirt and I'm out and about. I mean, it's almost a blessing, that people will stop you, say, "Hey, I like your shirt." Hey, God bless Charlie. It's once again, I mean, the line was, well, Charlie always wanted to fill a stadium, and then you had the memorial, and he got his wish, and obviously a sick, twisted way. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a major part of the discussion. And look, it motivates Republicans. The left has had a lot of these kind of motivating issues over the years. This was interesting because so many people that knew Charlie, were devastated by this, but so many people that didn't know him, Colonel, were devastated by this. And that is powerful. I'll go to different events and talk about my stories with Charlie. And it's fascinating how many people this really impacted their lives and kind of their willingness to get involved or to speak out or to be bold. We're seeing that with the voters. When we're talking to the voters at the door, it is a conversation that comes up. And remember, I'm talking to Republicans, but it's motivating them. And I think that's one positive that comes from this tragedy is Republicans are now motivated to take action. And we're going to do it. We're going to vote. We're going to vote early. We're going to vote by mail. We're going to do it for Charlie. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I mean, that momentum and that motivation, I think, will live well beyond his few short years here on planet Earth, man. I mean, no martyr has ever gotten weaker after their death. But Charlie wasn't just a martyr. I mean, he was a leader that was out there, and I didn't realize this until the last couple of years, really, after he became a dad and a husband, Cliff. But he was out there witnessing for Jesus Christ by putting his shoulder to the wheel to try to help a guy named Donald Trump get elected, to build Turning Point Action, to give kids the opportunity to tell him how wrong his ideas were freely on college campuses. And then give him the opportunity to talk to them, not just about policy, but about the gospel too. And I think that's going to have a big impact from here on out.
Yeah,
with the way we do campaigns and everything.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty fascinating because I admitted on his show, I got to guest host and join the show the day after the memorial, and I kind of admitted there something I hadn't said in a while, which is I agree with what J.D. Vance said, which is he's talked more about his faith in the 2 weeks after Charlie's death than he has in his entire life, public life. And I feel like that's where a lot of us are. I got into this as a liberty guy, role of government. I am a Christian. And I just kind of had to take a step back and say, I need to start talking about my faith more, the way that Charlie would. And I think you're right. He was prophesizing across the country to tell people the truth. And, the fact that when he was doing one of these prove me wrongs, The only answer that this radical lunatic could come up with is to kill him because he can't beat him at his own ideas. He 100%, Charlie is a martyr. And I think you're right. I think he only gets stronger from here. His name, his brand, the principles he believed in, they only get stronger from here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, how can folks, where do folks need to go to help you guys? Not just with donations, but is there different places they can go to get involved? Click links, like organizations.
Yeah, sure. There's three things we need forever and always at Citizens Alliance. Number one is I need a candidate to support. If any of you guys want to run for office, not this year, but next year or coming up. If anybody wants to knock doors, and if anybody wants to sponsor a ballot chaser, $175 is, a complete day of chasing ballots. But right now the focus is New Jersey. We do have a whole team on the ground in PA. I don't want to pull away from that. We are building the red wall there. But I do think njchase.org, if folks want to step up, pachase.com. If you would not, if you're more interested in Pennsylvania, that's fine. But we got some battles to win. And as we say, doors win wars. And we're going to keep doing that at Citizens Alliance. And folks can follow me on X, just at Maloney. Colonel, as always, I have to say this to you. Your show, your viewers fueled the win in Pennsylvania in 2024. Would be honored to partner with so many of them again to step up and help us pull off New Jersey and continue to build the red wall in PA. But appreciate you for giving me the platform, as always.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Keep up the hard work. Hopefully I'll see you soon at some point over the next few weeks. And I'm going to plant the seed with you publicly. You really need to consider running for office. But the next step with this process that you are a master at is not just recruiting young candidates, but old candidates, and at every level, Cliff. We need to get them to win with door knocking at the council level, the county level, the state level, like you're doing with Chitterelli there, not just the federal level. And I know you're the expert, especially at state legislature. So I look forward to the momentum continuing to grow and helping you do that.
Appreciate you, Colonel. Thanks so much.
God bless. All right, New Jersey, njchase.org, folks. Cliff Maloney's out there. You got to rock this because this lays the marker down for the state level to win, to bring back America's greatness at the state level and below. And this is the beginning of it. We got to get it done. We will get it done, and we'll get it done for Charlie. I'll be right back on the Rob Maness Show.
We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we've talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
MelissaHouseBG.com just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 Fast Action.
Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin is under growing scrutiny after filing charges against decorated Army veteran Colonel Conrad Reynolds, the man who led Independence County's vote to return to hand-counted paper ballots. National conservative leaders say it looks like GOP lawfare inside a red state. Reynolds is expected to report to the Independence County Courthouse tomorrow morning for booking. Prosecutors accuse him of violating, quote, exit polling laws, a rarely enforced misdemeanor, after organizing a ballot referendum that overwhelmingly passed, with 63% of voters choosing paper ballots over machines. Colonel Reynolds, soon to be inducted into the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame, has been a national leader in election reform. He has worked closely with members of President Trump's team in Washington, D.C. on election security and national defense vulnerabilities in voting systems. Reynolds continues to hold a top-secret security clearance, which includes routine polygraph examinations. Reynolds says that the prosecution is politically motivated and the, quote, establishment is trying to stop the paper ballot movement before it spreads to other counties. They're terrified of losing control of the election system, end quote. The controversy is raising a broader question inside Arkansas. Why would a Republican administration, led by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, oppose the very hand-counted paper ballot system that grassroots conservatives overwhelmingly supported? State officials have not publicly responded. The case has drawn...
And paper ballots that Donald J. Trump openly supports. Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Whistleblower Wednesday, and we talked to Colonel Reynolds a few weeks ago about the kind of what I thought was intra-party squabbling going after election commissioners in that county that won the paper ballot and hand counting initiative. But I think it's truly lawfare, except this time it's fratricide, Republican on Republican. And we have enough problems with Democrats trying to commit homicide, both figuratively and literally against Republicans without this kind of mess going on. And my guest, Conrad Reynolds, retired U.S. Army colonel, is back with us. And Conrad, that clip was from last night. So obviously you were arraigned this morning. How did it go?
Well, first off, thanks for having me on the show, Rob. I really appreciate it. The people of Arkansas, we had a huge crowd that showed up. It was very, very inspiring. The people that showed up to encourage me. And I can't say enough good things about the law enforcement people there in Independence County. The sheriff's department, the people that were there, they were very, very respectful. Like I said, couldn't thank them more as far as, they don't want to do this. I think that they see this as for what it is. It's a political witch hunt. There's retribution by the Attorney General's office because they don't like the fact that Independence County voted in hand-marked, hand-counted paper ballots and got rid of the machines. They don't like that. And so this is what their way of punishing anybody in the paper ballot movement. And I'm the face of paper ballots here in Arkansas. And we've worked at the national level, and there's a lot of people that know me in D.C. and what we're trying to do. And there is a group of people, it looks like most of the people in elected office in Arkansas are on the other side. They don't support President Trump. They don't support free and fair elections. They support these voting machines, and they spout out all the propaganda and talking points that these machine companies put out to try to fool everybody else to say that they're safe. They're not. They're not safe. They're not secure, and we got to get rid of them nationwide. And that's been my mission.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand, my friend. Who is this AG again?
Well, it's Letitia Griffin. Tim Griffin. We have our own Letitia James here, right?
Yeah.
In Arkansas, and unfortunately, this guy, I know who Tim is, but he wants to be governor, and so he's going to do what he's told to do in order to eventually. He's in the race right now, running for his second term as Attorney General. But he wanted to be a governor since the late 2008 2009 timeframe. So and he thinks his time is just right around the corner. And so I'm sure this is my speculation that he's being pushed to make this happen. And their zeal to destroy me and the paper ballot movement has been overcome. Which has overcome common sense. Is what I'm trying to say. I mean, no one would do this. This is suicide. Have you seen the social media backlash against Sarah Huckabee and Tim Griffin and Secretary of State Cole Jester? It's unbelievable. I mean, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of people have commented saying that's it, we're done, because everybody sees this, Rob, like I say, for what it is. It is bullies in government who want to maintain the status quo, who want to maintain their power, And they're going to make sure they keep these machines. Do I think that they all know that they can cheat? Probably not. But they're being told you're not invited to the party if you don't support our position of supporting voting machines and not supporting paper ballot. That's the only logical explanation.
And folks, I'm going to back Conrad up on this. There is no digital voting machine or even analog voting machine that is safe from manipulation in one way or the other. The digital ones are more vulnerable than any other type of voting machine that we've ever used in this country. I have seen the report all the way back from when Texas asked for an assessment of the voting machines that they were thinking about buying years ago. I talked to the man that did the study, that did the analysis, one of the smartest programmers that I've ever met in my entire life, who was an Air Force Academy graduate, did flight software for rovers on Mars and spacecraft and those kind of things. So, and he talked me through every vulnerability. And these things are like a sieve, Conrad. You can get into them 6 ways to Sunday. You know, even if it's a digital scanner where you've got a paper ballot that's being scanned, isn't it?
Yes, every one of them. In fact, the vast majority of states have a paper ballot that's marked by hand, but they all feed them through these optical scanners, which the program that is used in order to be able to count them and the ability to look at that and audit that is being closed off. We've never been able to look at them or audit them, and that has been a real big problem. I love people who say, well, they're not connected to the internet. Well, how do you know that? Well, they don't have any wires. So now I just hold up my cell phone. I say, there's no wires here either.
Yeah.
I mean, what you've got is people who are arguing to keep these machines who have no clue what they're talking about. They simply take what they're being told by either the local officials or from the ES&S voting companies, and they spout it off just like it was the law. In fact, it's like the cruise director on the Titanic saying it can never be sunk. Ever. You know, I mean, that's what it's like. They don't know. They're not an engineer. They have no clue. They have no background in it. You know, and I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that they choose to believe something that makes their life more convenient. They don't want to get rid of the machines because they're convenient. If there's a problem, it's a computer glitch. You know, the county clerks don't have to take responsibility like they used to for being able to manage a paper ballot county and election. They don't want to do it. It's a little harder work, but it's cheaper. And we got to. It's just got to happen, and that's why many countries over in Europe have ditched the machines in favor of hand-marked paper ballots because they understand the vulnerabilities, and they understand you can never be assured that an election has been not messed with or messed with. You never can be assured you got the accurate count unless you go to the gold standard, by the way, which is a hand-marked paper ballot that is hand-counted.
Yeah, yeah. So in the arraignment, what was the charge? Was the charge what we talked about the last time? What you were expecting?
The charge is basically loitering. I mean, I was too close to a door. That was pretty much it. I was too close to a door, in their mind. And there's conflicting law on that. I can't get into the details, but we did nothing wrong. That's just all there is to it. What they really wanted was a narrative that somehow the CEO of the Arkansas Voter Integrity Initiative broke election law, and they're trying to destroy my organization. You shouldn't follow him. Look, the leader broke election law, which is completely a lie. It's a lie, and the fact that we're going to prove that in court, where you have no doubt we're going to prove in court. I got a great legal team. And they're just trying to find anything they can. As I said before, if for some reason they got lucky, which they're not, and got a conviction on this misdemeanor, then it would be potential 1 year in jail, $2,500 fine. But the key is you can never run for elected office in Arkansas for the rest of my life, or I could never work for a state agency for the rest of my life. That is what they want to do. And that's not going to happen. Letitia James is going to find out that they overstepped. They fought with the wrong person. And I've got people all over this country that are calling me. Congressmen from D.C. are coming saying, what is going on? And the other thing it's going to expose, Rob, is that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not what she purports to be. What she presents herself as a very conservative is not true. And we're going to expose that so that people understand, okay, that she's not. And she has allowed this to occur. And I don't know how deep it goes, but we're going to find out, how much interface she's had with it.
Well, yeah, she could easily, couldn't she just make a phone call to Letitia there and say, hey, this doesn't look right to me, and it's not passing the smell check. Why are we committing fratricide on our own people?
Well, she could, but you know what? Think about it. This is going to be probably a minimum of $150,000 that they're going to spend on trying to go to say you were too close to a door. I mean, really? That's what they want to spend the time and effort and the full weight of the Arkansas governor and the attorney general against one of you or me? I mean, that makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. So it's politically motivated. Everybody knows it. Like I say, they see it for what it is. And I'm tired of bullies, man. I'm sure you are too. I'm tired of bullies telling me what I can and can't do, and that they're going to use their position to destroy me. No, that's not going to happen. We're going to fight this, and we're going to expose them because, as they say, sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we have a rat's nest, and we got to clean it out, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon problem or challenge, I guess, that the establishment, state level parties, all the way down to the county level, try to use bullying tactics. What's unusual with this is it's Republicans that are in elected office using their office to do it.
That's right. But now you see it. Now the curtain's been pulled back. It's been going on for a long time, and a lot of people really didn't believe it. But now you can see it firsthand. Again, their desire to destroy me, because we've been very effective here. Well, okay, we've got one county. We had 8 other counties ready to go that they use lawfare in order to keep us from getting the question on the ballot in 8 other counties. But we had one county that came through, which was Independence County, and they did not like that, and they were fighting it all the way to the Supreme Court. Think about that. The county elected officials fought all the way to the Supreme Court trying to keep it off the ballot because they knew that it was going to pass, and it sure did. 63% of the people November 5th last year voted to go to paper ballots, and they can't stand it. And one of the reasons why, Rob, is that it then becomes the outlier. In other words, if the numbers in that county don't match the numbers in other counties, surrounding counties, they should be pretty similar. And if they don't match, then there's a problem.
It's like a
particularly for statewide
bellwether.
races.
Like a reverse bellwether.
That's exactly right. That's why they don't want it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a whole host of reasons why they don't want it. They don't like people like you and me, they being party officials and office holders that are used to having their power and getting their people in and moving on and getting their next bigger office. They don't like people like us that come home after military service and go, hey, this doesn't look right. We can fix this.
Right.
And then we don't stop.
I don't stop. I don't stop because
I guess it's a matter of time before they come after people like me too.
Well, I just told them that, and I've told my staff, and we're very, very small, and the people that worked for me before. I said, when you get on one of these hot button issues, they will do whatever they can. And I suspected they would try to come after me at some point. And they just picked the wrong fight. They just picked the wrong fight. And they think they've got something here, but they don't. And we're going to blow it all up. I mean, check your news feed, man. And I mean, it's all over. People understand that it's corrupt. Sarah Huckabee on down, they're corrupt. And we had one other county, by the way, that actually went to paper ballots a year ago. It was called Searcy County. So Independence County is the second one, but they got to vote on it. The first one, Searcy County, in 2023, their quorum court, which is equivalent to their county executives, and they make the decisions on what the sheriffs gets paid and all that kind of stuff, roads, bridges. And they can vote on whether they wanted to be a paper ballot county or not. And Searcy County did some research. They were looking at doing that. They did a town hall. They did their cost analysis, a very detailed cost analysis. It's a very small county, but they figured out that it'd probably be cheaper. And they figured out that, hey, we can do this. And the people wanted it overwhelmingly in their little county. So the JPs, the justices of the peace who make up the quorum court, we're going to vote for it. Guess what? The Association of Arkansas Counties, which is the kind of an umbrella organization that control all of the counties and the money they get, the federal money they get. And they said, you do this. We're not going to help you get any road grants. We're not going to help you get any bridge grants. That's how they control all the counties. But this little county said, you know what? We're not going to listen to that. There's got to be something here. Why would you care how our 5,000 voters vote up in our little county?
Exactly right. We're going to take a break, Conrad. When we come back, we'll see some of the names that are talking about this, and they're calling it out. We'll be right back with retired Colonel Conrad Reynolds. He is the paper ballot guy in this country, in my opinion.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
Mike Lindell said, "Please share. Colonel Reynolds is a hero and is guilty of trying to save our country and get to paper ballots hand counted." General Michael Flynn wrote on X, "This is GOP lawfare and it must end. Sarah Huckabee, please step in and stop this ridiculous persecution." Attorney Sidney Powell posted, "What the hell? Sarah Huckabee, this prosecution is ridiculous and obviously lawfare." Attorney General Tim Griffin, "Exit polling is not election engineering. Were it anyone other than an advocate for hand-counted ballots, you would have ignored it." Political strategist Roger Stone shared a video captioned, quote, "Top MAGA leaders are asking Governor Sarah Huckabee why Arkansas indicted Colonel Conrad Reynolds, a proponent of paper ballots." Reynolds' attorney Chris Corbett calls the prosecution political payback. He said, quote, "It's lawfare, targeting a decorated Army veteran because he's been effective. Colonel Reynolds has worked tirelessly to strengthen election security in Arkansas and across the nation, and now he's being punished for it," end quote. Reynolds will appear tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the Independence Courthouse in Batesville, Arkansas, to be booked, fingerprinted, and photographed, an image that his supporters say will symbolize courage in the growing national paper ballot movement. Reporting at the White House for Lindell TV, I'm Kara Castronova.
The courage to tell the truth. That's what Charlie Kirk wanted to be remembered for. One of the two things, that his faith and the courage to tell the truth always. And Colonel Conrad Reynolds, retired, is my guest today. And he was arraigned this morning. The Republican Attorney General, Timmy there, Letitia Timmy Griffin, did it. And Governor Huckabee Sanders hasn't done anything. So, Conrad, we're back there. I just wanted to show that little clip of some of the notables that are out there talking about this. And these are people that Donald Trump, the president, does listen to, especially in this area. And I know you've been to the White House several times over the last year, trying to get the connections made to get this work, help get this work done yourself. So you're known. You're a known quantity there.
Sure.
The other counties you mentioned, what stopped them
The courts actually stopped them. There was signatures, not one signature in all the other counties was deemed or even alleged to be fraudulent. They were all signatures. The problem is the county-wide initiative, it has restrictions and rules that are much different than a statewide. In our statewide petition that you want to get something and change the Constitution, it takes time. You got to have certain rules. You can't have people from outside the state coming in, like these big corporations hire people coming in and try to get signatures. So they were trying to stop that. Well, we were looking at it from a county perspective. We said, if any county wanted help, we'd be more than happy to help them get enough signatures in their county so that they could go ahead and get it on the ballot and let the people vote on it. I mean, that's the way we ought to be in our country. And we helped several counties that asked for help. And Independence County really didn't need much. They had their own organic team that went out and worked and got all the signatures they needed. The other counties didn't have enough people, and it was hot. We're talking, July and 404 degrees. So we were able to find people who were willing to come and live in Arkansas and try to get the signatures. And under the definition of the law, a resident, they could stay here. They were considered a resident, pretty much like if you were a construction worker and you're going to go build a nuclear one plant, and you're pouring concrete. Well, you live there in a hotel while you are working. That is considered, that's a residence. It doesn't mean that's your main domicile. So to make a long story short, we had people who came in. That's what they challenged it on and said, you can't have people from out of state. Well, that's not true. But the judges went along with them in just about every case but the very first one. And the first one, the judge said that we were right, that people could. And that was in Cleveland County, and also in for the few signatures that we got in Independence. But in the long run, the number of signatures that Independents needed in order to get on the ballot, they had it by themselves. They had already gotten enough. So that's why they were fighting tooth and nail. And you got to ask yourself again, why? Why would they care how they vote? And because they always said, Rob, it will bankrupt your county. It will bankrupt your county. Well, guess what? When Searcy County this November did their election, they saved money. In fact, they rented some equipment from AVII, my organization, just some TVs and some old cameras, cheap cameras, to be able to show any of the citizens how they counted. So you could actually see the ballot on a TV behind them, and you could count the ballot yourself if you wanted to for open transparency. Well, the State Board of Election Commissioners, Rob, came after them and said, you didn't spend enough for those cameras. And so unbelievable. I swear to goodness, this is what they said. You only spent $100. Those are expensive cameras. There had to be some quid pro quo. We're going to kick you out for 14 years. That's what they did.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we got a question from the live audience. Let's go ahead and take that before we get to the end of the show. Go ahead, Shell.
We have Colonel Gannon, sir.
Hey, Colonels, appreciate you. Hey, appreciate both of you. Quick question is, one is what is next, and the other is how do we support you to make sure we're doing what we can to make sure you got your legal expenses and things covered here. So this is a good fight.
Well, the legal expenses, I'm not asking for anything for that. But I am asking if you want to support our mission in order to continue the paper ballot fight, not only in Arkansas, but across America, because that's where our focus is now for all across America. You can go to avii.org. That's avii.org. And I can ask you to please, if you want to donate and help us, we can use that without question. But for my legal funds, I'm funding that. I'll make sure that gets paid. I'm not worried. I'm not asking for help for that. Because the way I look at it, I put myself out there because somebody's got to do it. I mean, you get a lot of people that pat you on the back, but they're not standing out there and fighting. And thank goodness, Rob and I have an opportunity as being retired that we can take the fight to them. I'm not afraid of losing a job because I'm retired. So it really is an opportunity to give back to my country in a different way than I did when I was in uniform. And this way is to make sure that we have fair and honest and open, transparent elections so that we have, quote, elections, not selections. That's what we don't want. That's third world country stuff. And we're not going to do that here in America.
And it's been going on on for too long in this country. We know, that, especially folks like the three of us, Colonel Burton too, that have been candidates in major races, any race really. You'll see it that there's a tendency to want to select instead of elect. That's why the establishment political parties have to be challenged, right?
They have to be challenged, and the only way we're going to ensure that the person who won is the right person is to have a system that we can trust. And the only system by every expert that I've interviewed and talked to is a hand-marked paper ballot that is hand-counted under camera with strict chain of custody. You can do it. Everybody can do it. We've done it for hundreds of years, and we can continue to do it. But they just don't want to. They don't want to.
Let's use the technology like the cameras and live video feeds to be transparent and have no kidding elections instead of selections. And you know, if it comes out that you lose or win, and there's no question about it. That's not a hard ask. It should not be a hard ask. And there are, I don't know how much money they're spending, and they've spent on the different counties and the Supreme Court in the state, Conrad, but it's crazy to spend your tax dollars and my tax dollars in challenging these kind of things, especially when the people at the lowest level, which are supposed to have the most power, even according to the federal Constitution, the people have the most power in this country, and they are actually choosing. So let me ask you this, though. You were accused, they're using an electioneering law, the way I understand it, which all have distance requirements away from polling location doors, to say that because you were exit polling, you were electioneering. Is that the way this comes out? And what did the exit polling show? Were Democrats voting for your initiative? That's the question.
The exit polling showed that 63% of the people wanted paper ballots, and when the final number came out, it was 63%. The reason we wanted to do an exit poll was to ensure that they would not manipulate the vote. We advertised it, said we're going to be doing an exit poll. We told everybody we're going to do an exit poll. And the reason we did that is because if our exit poll says 63% and they came back and said we lost at 48 or 49%, we know that would have been a lie. 100%. We would have then challenged that, and they didn't want that. So that's why we were trying to be very open that we were going to do a exit poll. The exit poll, by the way, has been deemed by the U.S. Supreme Court as a freedom of speech issue. So there's going to be a battle here over that. But the fact is, we were completely right in what we did. It was completely legal in what we did. They just don't like it. They don't like it. And so, and so they're going to use the power that they have at their level to try to belittle me. But guess what? The people there in the Independence County, they see right through this. They see right through it. They understand what's going on here. And quite frankly, they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to have anything to do. They don't want people from Little Rock coming up to Independence County telling them who they've got to prosecute, how they got to do it. They're fed up with it. And you know what? The one thing they didn't realize in Little Rock, that's where I grew up. That's my hometown. I mean, that's where I went to high school. That's where Mark Martin, who was the race car driver, he was a year older than me, and I bought his car. My dad and drove it for my senior year. My dad was a state police criminal investigator in that area. He had 9 counties, and I used to I knew all the sheriffs back then. They all knew me in all those counties. And and the people I was working with today were just like them, and they understood what's happening, and they don't want to be a part of this political persecution. They don't want to be.
Absolutely,
So,
it's a figurative attempt to martyr you, like Charlie Kirk was literally martyred, and you're only going to get more powerful by them doing it. And they're crazy for trying to do it, Conrad. We'll keep tracking this story. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you coming on short notice to talk about this. We will keep highlighting it and getting it out there, folks. Share this show. Share it. Share everything Conrad puts out on X. Tag the president. Tag the influencers you saw in the clip, and we'll get it done. Tomorrow is Truth Thursday. We'll be talking about the shootings at the homecoming games in Mississippi. last Friday night that left at least 6 people dead in the FBI manhunt that's after him with retired FBI agent Chris Hinkle, who's from northern Mississippi. We'll see you then.